Times change, and so do relationships. Sheikh Hasina is learning this the hard way. Let me show you the contrast. Back in June, she was hosted by New Delhi, a full-fledged state visit. You name it, she got it. A red carpet welcome, a ceremonial reception, and a banquet hosted by the president. And why not? Hasina was the first bilateral guest of Prime Minister Modi's third term. But look at the scenes now. Sheikh Hasina is a leader on the run. She's holed up at the Hindon Air Base on the outskirts of Delhi. No cameras, no red carpets, no ceremonial welcomes. It's a contrast that sums up geopolitics. You may rule for years or decades, but you will never be more important than your country. I guess that's the message from India too. This whole thing is complicated for New Delhi. Yes, Sheikh Hasina is a friend, but she's also public enemy number one in Bangladesh today. How do you protect her without antagonizing Bangladeshis? That is the predicament. Maybe that's why India was slow to react. Hasina fled Dhaka at around 3 p.m. India time on Monday, but India did not issue a statement until today evening, almost 24 hours later. First, the foreign minister convened an all-party meeting. He briefed the opposition on the situation. Then he gave a statement in parliament. Now, all eyes were on Jaishankar. How would he describe the events in Bangladesh? Would he express sympathy for Sheikh Hasina? Listen to what he said.
Since the election in January 2024, there has been considerable tension, deep divides, and growing polarization in Bangladesh politics. This underlying foundation aggravated a student agitation that started in June this year. Throughout this period, we repeatedly counseled restraint and urged that the situation be diffused through dialogue. Similar urgings were made to various political parties, political forces with whom we were in touch. Speaker, sir, despite a Supreme Court judgment on 21 July, there was no let-up in the public agitation. Various decisions and actions taken thereafter only exacerbated the situation.
Let's break down what the minister said. First of all, what triggered this unrest? Not just the quota controversy. Jaishankar says it all began with the elections in January this year. He says it created tensions and divides. Secondly, how did India react to these developments? Well, in public, New Delhi did not say much. They called it an internal matter of Bangladesh. But privately, India was concerned. Jaishankar says that he counselled restraint and dialogue. Not just with Sheikh Hasina, he hinted that India was talking to other political groups as well. Which brings us to the final question. How did India handle those hours leading up to Hasina's escape? Listen to the minister again.
On 5th August, demonstrators converged in Dhaka despite the curfew. Our understanding is that after a meeting with leaders of the security establishment, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina apparently decided to resign. At very short notice, she requested approval to come for the moment to India. We simultaneously received a request for flight clearance from the Bangladesh authorities. She arrived yesterday evening in Delhi.
It sounds like India was caught by surprise. Perhaps New Delhi expected Hasina to survive this. Or maybe they underestimated the protests. Either way, Hasina fled. She is still at a safe house at the Hindon Air Base. But for how much longer? Hasina is seeking political asylum in the UK. India will be hoping that she gets it soon. If not, her stay here will have to be extended. What about other options? Well, Sheikh Hasina does have a US visa, but reports say that Washington has now cancelled it. I know it sounds unfair, but this is the harsh reality of geopolitics. Ousted leaders are political kryptonite. No one wants to touch them. Of course, the UK is an exception. They have a history of hosting toppled presidents and exiled spies. And if the UK also rejects her, what happens then? Then Dubai is reportedly another option. But let's come back to India for the moment. How is New Delhi bracing for the churn in Dhaka? Well, Jaishankar highlighted a couple of issues. One, treatment of minorities. He flagged the attacks on Hindu houses and temples. That is one concern. Two, the Indian community in Bangladesh. Around 19,000 citizens of India live in Bangladesh. Close to 9,000 of them are students, so their safety is top priority. And finally, issue number 3, the border. Minister Jaishankar says the border forces have been asked to be vigilant. So clearly he fears a spillover. But these are all short-term concerns. In the long run, India will have to recalibrate. We had an ally for 15 years in Dhaka, and now we don't. And that's a reality that India will have to accept. New Delhi is in contact with authorities in Dhaka, but do not expect meaningful conversations just yet, not until Sheikh Hasina leaves Indian soil. As crude as it sounds, this is the truth.